Cu mare întârziere mergem la primul panel deosebit de interesant, în care vom vorbi aplicat cu adevărat despre inteligența artificială, Embracing Digital Transformation through AI. Colegul nostru, Gabriel Herbei, CTO în cadrul First Bank și membru al asociației CIO Council, va modera acest panel. Te rog să vii, Gabriel, și am să invit alături de... I will invite the rest of the panelists, so Mr. Spiros Sachelariu, Group AI and Data Analytics Director from Austria Card Holdings, Mr. Cătălin Safta, CTO Matricia, Mr. Dragoș Stănescu, CIO Syngenta, and member of the CIO Council Romania, of course, Monsieur Frédéric Dussart, from Intuitive Cloud, so EVP Sales în EMEA și APAC, și domnul Mihai Băbescu, and Mr. Mihai Băbescu, Solution Director în cadrul Crayon. Vă invit, vedeți cum... Ok. Sper că n-am uitat pe nimeni. Dragoș.
So, hello everybody. Thank you for allowing us to be here. I am more than happy that we are in the National Bank building, because the first time I've read about digital economy was around 30 years ago. And the idea of going towards a digital economy started more than 50 years ago. And the digital transformation is a topic that it started, that it will go on for many, many years from now on. Here, we are here in order to share from our experience, to share how we have seen that the transformation can be done. And prior to go into our experience, I would like to share from what I understand as a digital transformation. If you look at the US market, if you look at the S&P 500, more than 30% of the value arises from the IT companies, which means that actually you have the capability and you grow the capability to deliver. To deliver what? A transformation. There is one thing to have the IT capability, there is the other thing to understand how you can use that capability, and you move from paper-based work, as it was mentioned earlier, to a digital flow. And the digital flow, it's something that the entrepreneurs and business people, they have to feel it. And one of the questions that appears is how you can help the business people to get a grasp of something that is not tangible, how they can understand the transformation. And let's share from our experience in this direction, and I will start with Dragoș, because he has a lot of experience, and as well our colleagues afterwards. Dragoș, thank you.
Hello everyone, thank you too. Nice to be here. So very, very interesting topic to cover. Okay. Let me put it this way. So what we've seen in the last 2 years is not your normal business cycle. We have a new normal, we have a new reality. And how, in a very interesting Disney franchise in Mandalorian, they said, this is the way, this is how our CEO envisioned the future, that you need to get benefit of all advantages in order to be competitive in the market. And AI is one of these. Coming back to how to drive this stuff, I think we have 3 big pillars to really run that stuff. First is data. Data structure, data accuracy, data availability is something you need to really have in place, or to work proactively to put in place, because an AI is as good as the data which it feeds on. And many companies stays on a big, amount of data, but this is not structured, it's not belonging to a single data lake, it's not able to be consumed regardless from right to left. Of course, this comes with capabilities, cloud, and so on and so forth. Second is culture. As I said, because this is the new way of doing business. This is not an IT project. This is not a technology. It belongs to the business itself. Therefore, you need to embed in the culture of the company this concept, these AI capabilities, which can give you a differentiator and a competitive advantage. You need to do it ethical. You need to do it transparent. And there are multiple ways, and we'll discuss how to secure and to enable this culture. And again, it doesn't fly as a project. It doesn't fly as an idea. It flies only together and combined with all the business strategy and business efforts. As I said in many other previous CIO conferences, digital is not digital. It's just business doing something with a new, let's say, dimension on top of the existing ones. And the last but not the least, you need to be practical. Many people are talking about AI in very interesting ways, and many times a lot of futuristic kind of solutions are in the place. But in order to come back to the point number 2, to buy in at least your organization and then your customers, you need to really come with some practical examples. And here you have 2 different layers. You have the Gen I, which is very on the hype these days, which for me is very related, or especially related to operational effectiveness or sales effectiveness. There, as a tool, can really bring some time efficiency, on efforts efficiency on our sales population. And we can discuss later on, because I need to share also with my colleagues some examples how we can do that. And of course, you can move to automating a lot of processes. You can go to churn prediction, to forecasting, and of course, the higher you are in the how to say, business leadership of a company, you look for the more fancy-dancy applications of AI. But you need also to learn. And for me, coming from an agribusiness company, which is Syngenta, we are not a software company. So we need to learn, and we need to build and need to train our models gradually until we will achieve that stuff. And do stuff practically, do stuff incrementally, and embed it completely on business and provide business value. There is no project with real business value which will not get a budget. But there is no good idea with no one from business behind which will survive. So pick your things very carefully and put your bet where the effectiveness is. Thank you.
Dragos, one question to move forward. Which was the main driver that led your company towards this path?
The main driver, so let's put it that way, is the reason, as I mentioned, the business is changing tremendously. We've seen that not only in our industry, everywhere. Therefore, a company needs to pick up everything. So you need to still be number one, or you be one of the leaders, and therefore you need to take all what you can do in order to keep this advantage. And you have 2 options. One option is to increase your headcounts, and that's something which usually leadership is not happy with, and it's not scalable. You cannot double the sales population across globe or across Europe. Or the other way around, you need to focus not losing your main business on the non-visited customers, therefore to use all these digital tools, which are AI enhanced and so on and so forth, on top of the operational effectiveness inside your company, and to go wider. Because in the past, let's say, if someone, a small grower, for example, in our case, would have been searching to buy a bag of seeds from us, probably wouldn't have been our targets years ago. But if you have 60,000 small growers in Romania and 32,000 small growers in Hungary, all of them buying one bag of seeds digitally, that's an amount to take into consideration. Even if you just cover your salary cost, that's fine. And that practical reason for having this driver actually come as a reason, but the real change is, as I said, leadership. It needs to be a statement, a strategic direction for the company. It's not even a partnership in between CIO and CIO. It's just this is the way the company needs to go outside. Of course, we will never forget or lose our identity. We are still an R&D company, but AI is here to make a difference.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Frederic, how do you see the transformation?
What I can see, I met a lot of customers as well, and transformation, it's about the success of going through transformation with AI, if you want. And what I saw, it's the role of the CIOs is going to change a lot. They have to be in the driver's seat to run this kind of transformation through AI. And they have to be, I guess, an AI enabler for the business. They have to step up really big time on that. And first and foremost, I believe they have to start with their own organization, and pretty fast, that to use AI and to show business cases in the IT, in their own IT environment, which is about to get a fully automated through AI, different tasks in the IT maintenance, how to support and everything. That's a pretty big thing I can see as well. I think they have to help the business to understand what can be achieved with AI business cases and the limits beyond the hype. Although everybody is talking AI today, but what are the limits? And a big thing as well is to get the infrastructure ready. Jay talk about it, Dale talk about it. Most of the time, the infrastructure is not ready to develop AI solution at scale. I've seen, there was a ratio on traditional IT with solution for $1 spent on an application, you spend $1 on infrastructure. On AI, for $1 spent on application, AI-driven solution, you're going to spend $4 or $5 in terms of infrastructure to support the scaling. So you have to revisit the infrastructure completely as well to support the scale. I've seen customers starting a lot of business cases, with a lot of enthusiasm, but they stop project because the infrastructure can't cope with the cost. So you have to manage the cost. Managing the cost is going to be a pretty big issue going forward. You have to have an infrastructure that you control managing the cost. Whatever it's on-premise or with hyperscaler, but it's going to be a big time. And that's something we are looking and pushing as well, just to get. So our advice when you start an AI journey is, first of all, is to start with proof of concept, with 2 or 3, I would say, technical solution as well, on business cases. Once you do that, at the same time, what does it mean in the future to build and for the run in terms of cost? And we look at that really, and I really encourage you guys just to look at the same time what are the business cases to solve business problem, but as well, what is going to be the build and the run cost going forward. It's going to be a big issue. I do believe we don't embrace that straight from the beginning.
Thank you. Spiros, which is your view?
Sure. Well, as my colleagues here, they mentioned, one of the biggest problems is setting the expectations right. A lot of people, they hear about AI. 10 years ago, the big thing was big data, and everybody split into 2 opinions. There were the deniers, and they said these are all hype and nothing useful will come out of it. And they are the hyper supporters that they think, okay, we're going to bring AI, you're going to push a button, and magically all your problems will be solved. And the truth is somewhere in the middle, as usual. So, for example, let's talk about generative AI. It's the hot thing. Although what I'll say now is pretty much, with a few differences, applies to everything from statistical analysis to traditional or legacy AI. I don't know how to say it. One of the problems that people have when they try to implement generative AI is obviously hallucinations, or in the traditional AI, inaccuracies. So if you don't set the expectations right, depending on the use case you're trying to implement, people will not accept these inaccuracies. People will not accept these hallucinations. But you cannot have AI with a deterministic system, right? It's probably a property of intelligence. Randomness and inconsistency, they are probably something inherent into intelligence. So you want AI, you have to learn how to deal with inaccuracies, lying of the models, hallucinations. The second problem, and I think I've heard it in previous speeches as well, is data. Okay, how do you bring your data into the awareness of the model? We could not spend 100 million euros per training, okay, because this is how much it costs you to train a large generative AI model. So another area is, okay, how do we bring all that data, structured, unstructured, and make our model aware of them, and also use them to reduce hallucinations. And the third problem that was also mentioned is cost. And it's really expensive. Generative AI is expensive. Just to close up with, okay, it's not only problems, there are solutions to these problems. Very quickly, hallucinations and lying, we deal with it the same way we deal with human mistakes and human errors. We create teams of people. We create people that they talk to each other. So the same way we can reduce hallucination by creating agents that they talk to each other in human language, not computer language, and we create virtual departments. There's another one way. Another way about the bringing your data into the model, this is the hot thing, the knowledge base. This is like going back to the old data warehouse days. You cannot use an AI to create the knowledge base for you. You have to put humans, and you create a nice hybrid knowledge base, what they call them now, vector and graph database and all that stuff. And then you can use AI to grab that knowledge, but you need to design it. And finally, for the cost, a very hot thing right now in the community is to do your design, implementation, and POC with the largest, most expensive, and smarter model you can afford, and then try to reduce the size of the model, okay, and go with smaller models. So from 1.3 trillion parameters of GPT-4, maybe you can do the same thing with a model that is only 14 billion parameters. That would reduce significantly the cost of training or fine-tuning the model or running the model. So my take on it.
You raised a very interesting point from my perspective, and that is hallucination. Well, me as an end user, I expect that the IT system to be perfect, 0 or 1. And then you tell me that the IT systems are hallucinating. How can we bring how can we put together or how we can set the expectations that the new Gen AI, new technologies, they can actually be to some extent wrong and set the expectations of the end users that you must be you should be looking into the output and understand that you should not take it as granted. Use your judgment.
Or even use hallucinations to your advantage. All right, yes. So let me answer this, because this is a very interesting problem. First of all, we don't trust a human being 100%, never, right? Okay, so the same way we cannot trust AIs because we build them to think, right, or quote unquote think, so they have some properties similar to humans. Okay, they're not always the same. So the first thing is always need to put a human in the loop with judgment. So if you are the end user, you are the human in the loop. Don't do what that, I was just reading the story about this lawyer who asked GPT-4 to give it some facts about his case, and the model fully hallucinated. Every fact was wrong, and the lawyer didn't check any of them. And he went to court. He said, oh, okay, this is another case, this is another case, and none of this case existed. Okay, you are the human in the loop, or if you're a company, you need to put humans in the loop. But there are use cases, and maybe later on we can use a few examples, that you want hallucinations, okay? Because hallucinations, they lead to new pathways, new ideas. Okay, this is how we also, as human beings, build new ideas. And I'll give you a small example, if I have time, from the old days of ant colony optimization algorithms, if anyone has done swarm intelligence. Okay, these are like pre-neural network AI. Okay, when we used ant colony optimizations, you have like ants that they follow each other, right? And this is how they find the path. But if you really want to have an adaptive algorithm, you had to ingest some algorithm, some randomness into the ants. So some ants, they will not follow the crowd, but they will try different ways. And this way, the swarm could find new solutions, let's say, to the sales traveling problem. So hallucinations are both a curse that if we take into consideration, we can resolve it, but also it could be a solution to a lot of problems.
One short addition, what I noticed in our company, hallucination can be decreased hugely by just training the models with your own data sets. So if you just use external data sets, it's not so accurate, but the more you integrate your own data sets, the model comes back with results which are closer to what you expect.
Thank you, Jens. Pelin?
What we also saw is that in the hallucination area, and there are some use cases where you will need AI to be 100% sure. So it's impossible for it not to be. So for example, customer support, which is the hottest area. Everybody would like to automate the customer support interaction using AI, large language model, level 3 type agents, voice-to-voice models, human-like approach. There you need a little bit grounding. And this grounding can be done indeed, and it's possible to do it via prompt engineering, via very strong integrations, and keep it on the safe side. Yeah.
Mihai, please carry forward in this
okay.
case with your experience in transformation.
What we do in Crayon, we see AI topics for many years. What I love is some motto of our company, that everything between a supplier and potential supplier of AI technology and the customer starts with an honest conversation. And this is very important. And this honest conversation has to happen inside and also with your customers. We create some kind of a way of approaching these AI projects by splitting them into different areas. Language, vision, decision intelligence, and always foundational data platform. What we also try to do and what we manage to do is to create some kind of a matrix of use cases and putting those use cases in a manner that for our partners, we really show them which are likely wins, bets, and also potentially or have just marginal gains. And when we do that, we take into consideration, and I recommend to everybody to take into consideration two views. One view is regarding the feasibility of the project, and when I speak about feasibility, I speak about the capability of your organization in real ways to be able to implement or to take into consideration that particular AI use case, and on the other hand, the benefits of that project. By benefits, I mean either cost reduction, process optimization, digital transformation, or similar. And putting these together and taking very fast look at potential use cases really offers you the gain and advantage to be more fast and to go forward. But we also need to take care or think of the fact that AI doesn't solve everything, that AI has to be safe, and that's it. So from my side.
Thank you. Katalin, we saw earlier some examples from your colleagues. Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Yeah, thank you very much. I agree with everything you said, and I think it's, for me and the way I'm seeing things, the most important thing is to look at how technology is used. This is let's say, a philosophical approach on it. So first of all, what is technology? Technology is a tool you need to use in order to solve a real world problem. So the first step for this is to understand as better as you can the real world problem, the real issue that someone is facing or that a business is facing, yeah? So I would say that this is the most important step in the journey, in digitalization journey in general, and also in this particular area of technology that is the AI and generative AI. So first of all, understand and ground it to a specific use case, a specific scenario that you better understand and fully understand if possible. And then go deeper into that subject and understand what is the most value it can add and which are the particular cases. And then you can use the proper technology, the correct technology for it. Like I said earlier, AI is a spectrum. It's not a single part of technology. It's not something that you could use and solve all your problems, and so on. You need to use the real bit of that AI, or perhaps the generative AI, perhaps machine learning, perhaps something. It really depends on the use case you are facing with. Yeah, and then going forward with it, you can, after you've identified what is the proper technology and what is the proper vendor for that or partner that you could use, you then go deeper into it and do automations, and you do cost optimization, which are very important. You do safety, you do all the things that you've mentioned earlier. And to do that, I think you need to have a stable environment that you need to use. So yeah, ideally it should have a single repository for all your data that the AI systems and generative AI could use to automate or fix that business problem that you are facing with, yeah? And this is what we presented earlier about Laserfish, and this is really important to take into account that if you are using a platform like that, that is mainly used for actually storing the data of your company, okay, your processes, which are very important, and the way that data is really collected from the participants and stakeholders. After you have that, you could easily go and solve the actual problems that your business is facing. And as close to the business that your data is and your system is, as easiest is to fix that or have solutions to that. Yeah, and okay, I could talk a lot about the area of technology and area of generative AI, which is a very hot subject right now. We have a lot of solutions, also with open source models and so on, and the open AI things. But that, for me, those are really details that you need to confront after you've taken all the steps leading to the real issue you are trying to fix, or the optimization that you need to implement right there. So this is my take on it.
Thank you. In case there are questions, so that we can share some more information from our experience, we would be glad to hear it. In case not, I would have a final question for each and every one of you, and that would be, in a nutshell, very briefly, what would be the advice you would give to an IT director when they are looking to AI and Gen AI? Very briefly. And Dragos, let's go from left to right. Very briefly.
Okay, very briefly. Please focus on business value, technical feasibility and capabilities, and embed it in the business strategy, whatever you do. Focus on results, and deliver on time, and try to start with practical samples to buy in organization first and customers later. And to conclude with one saying which I like these days is, if you dream alone, you are a dreamer. But if you dream, or we dream together, this is reality. So you can shape this reality. Otherwise it will never fly. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. If I've got one recommendation, I've seen so many projects and starting to be stopped as we speak because of the cost of the infrastructure. So the one recommendation, if I may, is use a FinOps foundation practices and start to implement that straight away to deploy AI-driven solution. You will not regret it. You will control the cost and optimization during the life of the project. Otherwise, one way you can be stuck is one recommendation, what I've said.
Thank you.
I'll just use an example from the 19th century. So when the industry was working on steam, and Thomas Edison, he told the industrialists to use electricity for their factories, and most of the industrialists, they just replaced the steam engine just with a big electrical motor, and they said, no, I don't see any difference, right? So I think this is where we are right now with AI. So you have to think a bit out of the box on how you're going to implement, and the different types of AI that exist and the different tools that exist. Think out of the box, try to find the right solution, and maybe use, for example, hallucinations to your advantage. And the end story in the Industrial Revolution was that the best idea was to bring the electricity inside the factory and have a lot of smaller electrical motors, because then you can optimize production. So this is the way we have to think now for AI. This is where we are. We are in the 19th century of AI, and we have to have creative thinking.
Thank you.
I would say the most important thing is to find yourself a partner that shares your vision on your company's future, and how and can help you to achieve that. And start from small, as you already said. Start from small, but with a strong foundation, and build on it, and learn for each feedback how to do things better. But having a solid foundation, I think, is critical here.
Even if I'm from an implementation partner, I can say that if the business case doesn't work, we know for sure that in the last years the costs of AI have went down. It is potentially a moment for a leap of faith in this type of technology. If it doesn't really make the money, but if you don't try now, it is potentially for you to remain at the end. And I believe this is kind of a technology where you cannot accept that.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. I hope that it was interesting for you. And I believe that after this moment we have a break. And
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Then there you go.